All right, this is a new segment or whatever you want to call it that I'm going to do on my YouTube page, Aspiring Music Writer. So look it up. I'm going to share it on Facebook. But this is something I'm going to call Influenced. I got paper, so I'm cheating. But Influenced is like going to be a series about, I talk with my hands. Well, my hand. This one don't move. It's a mom. But anyway, sorry, I'm doing comedy too. But, influenced with bands or artists that influenced me over the years. I've written like 33 songs, I think, and got much more stashed somewhere in my house, ideas and stuff, but my back itches. But anyway, so this is, I'm going to call this like episode 1 of Influence. I'm going to try to do this weekly and do some other stuff to do with my YouTube page. Stay tuned, because I've got a thing I'm going to do about Nickelback, and then I'm going to do a deal about 3 songs that I know or that I've written, like today. I've been busy today. And the 4th one I'm going to write or are writing right now in the process. And it's going to be dubbed From the Honky Tonks to the Strip Clubs Down on Sunset Boulevard. 80s rock, Poison, Motley Crue, Warrant, stuff like that. So tune in for that. But anyways, this episode is about Cross Canadian Ragweed. I don't know if you can see my tattoos really well. Let me see, hang on. But there and there. But anyways, I've got Cross Canadian Ragweed tattoo in The Departed. My favorite, so I'm situated again. Getting, but I got tattoos. They've probably my biggest influence of all time. But before I go into that, I'm going to go a little background. I'm sure everybody that knows me or heard of me has heard of Cross Canadian Ragweed. If you haven't, this is kind of a little backstory of, they formed of who they are. Cross Canadian Ragweed is a southern rock / red dirt quartet that is no longer a band. He's doing a new thing called Cody Canada and Departed. But Cross Canadian Ragweed formed in Yukon, Oklahoma in the early 90s, like 94, 93, 92. Pretty much when grunge was around. Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and I can't think of that other band. But anyways, but it was made up of Cody Canada. He was lead guitar, lead vocals. Originally, Matt Weedman was on bass. Then he quickly left the band, and Jeremy Plato took over his place and does a little bit of vocals. Grady Cross was on rhythm guitar, and then Randy Ragsdale was the drummer. Like I said before, they formed in Yukon, Oklahoma. They got 7 studio albums and 3 live albums from 1994 to 1998 to 2010. I don't know, I'm gonna have to look that up. I thought it was 94 when no, 98, okay, sorry. From 98 to 2010. I think they formed in 94. But they got a lot of radio play on college radio down in Texas and Oklahoma. But their first studio album, after this, I can't understand because I've heard stories where Cody never graduated, so I don't know how truthful this is, but it says Cody moved to Stillwater after high school, but from what I've heard, stories of him, I don't know how true it is, that he didn't really graduate high school, that he just moved to Stillwater to pursue music. If I ever get the chance to meet him and talk to him again, I might ask him, because I'm not real for sure, because I could have swore in one of the live albums he was talking about how he pretty much just moved off and nobody knew, or his parents didn't know where he was for a while, and then he called home and said, I'm doing fine, I'm in Stillwater, just pursuing the music, I'm fine, I'll talk to y'all later. But Carney came out in 1998, their first studio album, and it had like Carney Man, and I think there was like 3 or 4 covers. Like there was a Bob Childers cover, Carney Man, which he wrote, which they got sick of playing because they played it so much. And then, which I didn't know this either, Long Way Home was featured in a bunch of Dodge commercials, which I did not, that was something new to me, which I don't know if it's actually new. I didn't know what song it was, because I was going to an eye doctor one time and we were talking about Joe E. Lee, Cross, that Texas music, and he goes, like, he liked them up until they sold out, but to me they've never sold out, because they've never played to Nashville or a mainstream crowd. But that song was Long Way Home. Well, that was on, or was that on Highway 3? No, that was on Highway 377, sorry. But anyways, they played, and they had Live and Loud at the Wormy Dog, which is, I think they were telling on one of the live albums, or one of the, I've seen them like 100 times, so. But, that it was on Napster like the first time when it was legal, you know, and then it got out everywhere. But it had covers like Neil Young's, what is that song? Hey Hey Mama, Mike McClure's Down on the Water, and I think there was another cover, but Long Way Home was on there. Highway 377, which is a great story song. Bang My Head was on that album. Lots of good songs on that album. Then they went to the Purple, or self-titled album, which is weird. I didn't know it was the actual self-titled. I've always known it was the Purple album. And it was dedicated to Mandy Ragsdale, which is Randy Ragsdale's little sister that died in a car accident in College Station. And they dedicated it to her because it was her favorite color. But it produced the single 17 and Constantly. What I don't understand is either, when I was looking some stuff up, is they said they did a video for Constantly, but they also did a video for 17. But I don't know if that was later on. I don't know. I couldn't find that anywhere. My dog's playing with tennis balls down there, but so I don't know about that, because I know when I started getting into them is when I heard when 17 was on CMT. But let's get back to then 2000, that was in 2002, I think, 2001, 2004, Soul Gravy came along, or was released. It had Leanne Womack doing background vocals on Sick and Tired. and they redid a new version of Alabama, which was on Highway 377, and it got chart or went Billboard. I think it went number 4, top country album. But what's weird, I've never considered them a country band. For one thing, they don't play fiddle. There's no fiddle. There's no steel guitar. I think there's only one album, 1 or 2 songs. Actually, it's got piano in it. And, you know, they've never sounded country. They sounded Southern rock and Texas music. You know, to me, they've never sounded country. And they've always said that, you know, they're a rock band. A 4-piece rock band. And then in 2005, Garage came along, which Mike McClure was in more of a rock mood, which I know is weird because there's more of a grungier rock stuff, and because the critics were saying that it was their grungiest rock album ever. But it produced the singles Fightin' For, and This Time Around, which was only on radio for a few short months, because what happened was, I can't think of the guy's name. Again, what was that guy's name? He produced like Tony Brown. That's who it was. Tony Brown had produced I think he produced the album, or had something to do with the album. But someone came, I don't know if it's him or someone from Nashville said, hey, if you give us this single, we'll put it on the radio and you'll get bigger fan base. And Cody was like, okay, just don't change anything about it, because it was more, like I said, that Southern rock had a harmonica in it. And when I guess they were going to the next show or something, and Cody had heard it on the radio and found out that they took everything out except for his vocals. They took out the harmonica part completely. And you know, it was a different band. It wasn't Ragweed. It was like a Nashville hired band, which they were not about that, right? Never have been about that from everything I've studied and read. Also, which I didn't know this either, I'm learning a little bit too here. They broke into rock radio with Dimebag, which is dedicated to Dimebag Darrell Abbott from Pantera and Damage Plan, which he had was shot, murdered on stage a few months before that Garage came out. So that was dedicated to him. Then they did Canes at Ballroom, their second live album, or no, it was their third live album. They did a live at Billy Bob's, which they did a Robert Earl King's what was it? It's a slow song. They did a Neil Young, Needle and the Damage Done. Cody did that acoustic. But what was that? I have to look it up. I can't think. But it's the lyrics are like had a statue of Jesus when she died, but I can't remember that song. But anyways, they did Robert Earl Keen and Neil Young on that, Neil Young acoustic, Cody. And then they did, oh no, that is Kane, sorry. Then Mission, California came in 2007, and it was actually produced in California. And they did a cover of Chris Knott's Cry Lonely, which you can find. If you haven't heard of Chris Knott, look him up. He's badass. He's a Americana songwriter from Slaughter's, Kentucky. And they said more like West rock instead of roll rock, which I don't know what that means. To me, it sounds about the same. Then in 2009, Happiness and All Other Things was their last studio album. They did this, the first title or track off the album is called 51 Pieces, which is a hilarious story. Look it up. I'm going to tell just a little bit about it, but look it up on YouTube. It's about where they, Cody and the boys, get pulled over by the Highway State Patrol in Ohio because somebody said they were smoking pot or there was marijuana on the bus. And Cody's like, well, you smoked everything we had in the bowling alley before, and they ransacked the bus. And, sorry, face going out of the frame. And they let him go, but it's a story song that Cody and Mickey Braun from Mickey and the Motorcars wrote. Hilarious. And to me, it had a little bit different, like, psychedelic rock sound to me, but that's just my opinion. It's still awesome. But it was dedicated to Randall Locke, which was Willie Nelson's road manager for like 30 plus years. I think they called him Lovey. And then May 2010 is when they went on hiatus because Randy Ragsdale, the drummer, had to go home because his son JC is and was autistic and he needed to be more at home. And then, but Cody said, we're not Ragweed unless it's us four, no matter if we get anybody else. So that's when they broke up. And in September, but their very last show together as Ragweed was on October 24th at Joe's Bar and Grill in Chicago. But with that being said, now I'm going to tell you why that's influenced me. I'm going to throw this away. But I heard of Cross Gang Ragweed around 2004. I was actually 17 at the time. And it's weird how God works in mysterious ways. Because little did I know how much this quartet from Yukon, Oklahoma would change my life so much. But a buddy of mine, it's like, man, you need to listen to this song. And that was really before I got into songwriting. I was trying to find different music because about that time, well, to me, like 97, 98 is when country music was going in the dip more towards pop and crap like that and stuff. I'm more of a traditionalist in country music. I want steel guitar, fiddle, beer drinking, cheating songs, stuff like that. Being drunk at the bar, even up-tempo bar drinking songs like Friends in Low Places, shit like that. But like I said, 97, 98, it was starting to go on a decline of actual traditional country. Mark Chestnut wasn't getting played. Alan Jackson, I think, wasn't getting played. George, for somehow reason, George Strait's always been played on the radio. But anyways, and like I said, I was into Eminem, which also would influence me later on. But we'll talk about that some other time. But this buddy of mine's like, hey, have you heard of this band called Cross Canyon Ragweed? I was like, I've never heard this band. And to be honest with you, I hate to admit this too. I really do. I hated it at first. Because it was more stripped down songwriting than, hey, we're just trying to get something on the radio. Instead of bump diggity dee doo dah or whatever, jump in my truck with good luck with a girl. That's more harder than, or whatever. I don't know what they do. I'm not good at that shit. Writing songs about stuff like that. But anyways, so And the first two albums I think I bought was Live at Billy Bob's and 17, or the Purple album. And like I said, I think the only song I really did like, or songs honest to God, I really did like was Boys from Oklahoma, Carney Man, and there was one off of the first track off of Purple. I can't think of what it is right now. That was like the only songs I liked. And then I seen the video for 17 that they put out, and I was just obsessed with this 17 song because it was exactly what I was going through at that time. Not fitting in with the crowd. Your parents don't understand you. You're trying to figure yourself out, and it took me a long time to figure out who the hell I was and what I was about and what I stood for and what I did and this and that, but 17, like I said, pretty much started the whole thing with me. And then I was like, man, as they progressed and got more, and they more influenced me with, like Alabama, the new version, and, songs. What I'd love, I seen them the first time, 2007. I think 2007 was I seen them in 2007. 2004, I discovered them. 2007, I seen them at the Oklahoma State Fair in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And they said they were sick and fucking tired. And this was before even the song of playing Carney Man. But they played it for the audience because it was at an actual circus. Or, they had a fair, And so, and then I seen them not long after that. I think it was still the same year, and they opened up for Asleep at the Wheel, which even Cody said that should have been the other way around, because Asleep at the Wheel had been around, 20 years before them, when it already established something down in Texas and with the Western swing thing. I'm sure you've ever heard of Asleep at the Wheel of Ray Benson. So look them up if you haven't, great Texas swing band. Great. Seen them twice in concert that night, and then I seen them a few months ago at Gillies. But like I said, one thing I loved about them, and still do, Cody don't do it as often as he used to with Ragweed, but what he would do is, like, he'd play the full band songs, and they would go and take a break, smoke break, drink break, whatever. Then he'd come out and do, like, 3 or 4 covers on acoustic guitar. That just blow you fucking away. And what got me was it wasn't just country or rock. It was anything from, like, David Bowie's or Nirvana's, whichever way you want to look at it. What was that song? The Man Who Sold the World, depending on what version you want to listen to. David Bowie came out the first, and Nirvana redid it. To, the Black Crowes, to Merle Haggard, to, just Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, whatever, You didn't know what he was going to throw at you on acoustic guitar. Neil Young, Robert Earl Keen, you just didn't know what, and I love that because, it taught me that even though he was like a Southern rock singer-songwriter and kick-ass guitars, he could strip it down to, just the songwriting. And then I got into songs like Constantly and Pay, which is on Soul Gravy, and Breakdown, which is on Garage and stuff. Like I said, he's influenced them and him, the band and him have influenced me so damn much. Like I said, and what's weird to me, because I write a lot of country-based Americana songs, I'm just now starting to write rock songs. And it's weird because it's not really Southern rock based yet, what I've wrote. It's more like, well, a little bit, De France. That's another band I'm going to talk about in one of these episodes. But like I said, I've written 2 rock songs. Well, 1 rock song. I've got another idea, and then 1 on the way. Which I'm going to talk about in another video, so look for that. But like I said, but anyway, so, like I said, and like, it was funny, because I've been trying to write songs since I was 17 years old. Literally, I know this is like, he's making this bullshit up, but I mean, really, since I was 17, I wanted to write a song. And it took me till I was 30 to write my first song. But like I said, I'm a big believer in God. I don't have, like, I'm not Catholic, Methodist, Jehovah's Witness, Pentecostal, Baptist. I'm just a Christian, not a denominational. But I take things from different faiths. Like, when I go to eat, I do this. When I pray like a Baptist, with the hands open, or driving in my car. So, like I said, I take a little bit from everything, and I talk to God on a regular basis. But anyways, that's another story. I'm not gonna go too far into this story, but back in 2017, 16, 17, into 16, early 17, I was getting to the point where I was getting bored, of just doing the same old daily thing, same old damn routine. I got so damn tired of it. Hated my job, hated my life. I really didn't hate my life, I was just bored and didn't really know what to do, because I didn't want to work where I worked. I wanted to do something different. I didn't have no purpose in life. And then God said, I'm going to answer part of your prayers. And he's like, you got to do something. And so it was all in God's plan. But I was really into Steve Harvey and his motivational speaking at the time. Well, I really wasn't into his motivational. I was more into, his jokes. And because that's 2 things I love, is music and comedy, stand-up comedy and music of all sorts. And he had this video go viral over YouTube called Jump. I was like, what is this about, And it was about, if you want to do something in life, you got to jump. You got to take risk. You got to find your gift. This and that, And it was like it was so weird, because it was all these questions I've been trying to answer for the past few months. But I didn't know about how about going doing it. But God says, don't worry about your not results, but don't worry about how you get there. Just pray that you will. And that's what I've been doing. How am I going to get there, And, but anyways, so it was like divine inspiration. I was like, oh, this is how you do it. You find your gift, and then you go from there. And you literally hold on to a prayer. So, a few weeks goes by. Like I said, I kept rewatching the video, and and what was weird is I was watching another video that, it wasn't even meant to be put on Facebook or YouTube. What he does is, after he hosts a Dilla Family Feud, he talks to the audience for a little bit, and that's just what he talked about that day. But anyways, like I said, and every time I see it on Facebook, I reshare it just because maybe it'll help somebody. It damn sure did me. I'm not the perfect Christian. I cuss. I don't drink a lot. I've never done drugs, although I'm a big believer in marijuana. I don't do it because of all the health issues I've got. I had a stroke when I was 2. Now I'm 33. But anyways, that's not what I'm getting at. But anyways, so one night I was sitting there. I love crime documentaries. I was wanting to write a novel too. That was another thing I was wanting to do. So I was praying. I was like, I got to find my gift. I want to be a songwriter. That's what I want. But is that my gift to write? Is it, God? I don't know. You know more about this than I do. So one night I was, like I said, I love crime documentaries, crime shows, Law and Order SVU, Law and Order Criminal Intent, regular Law and Order. So anyways, I'm like, I was watching, I don't remember what it was I was watching. And it was about this deal on suicide. And for some odd reason, it got to me where I could not think of anything else but that show I was watching. And so I was like, this is really weird, because like I've never had no problem like that before. Now, when I was younger, and I mean, like I said, because I've been trying to figure out what my faith was, what I believed in, I said stuff like that. I thought, when I was younger, I thought, well, if I died tomorrow, I really wouldn't care. But I wasn't going to, enhance the situation. But like I said, God's got a purpose. You're born where you are for a reason. Like I said, so, and I'm going to do this on another deal. But anyway, so I didn't plan on this video being this long, but it looks like about 45 minutes to an hour, but, whatever. So I was like telling my mother, I was like, I'm gonna go to a mental hospital. She was like, no, you don't. You just forget about it and go on. But I could not forget about it, And then I was telling the doctor, I said, I worry all the time. I said, I've got these suicidal thoughts going in my head. And so he prescribes Ambien, which I did not know. And they did not tell me, hey, this could cause suicidal thoughts. So, that week or whatever, he put me on Ambien and started on Lexapro to help me, calm or, not worry about stuff, as much and this and that. And, so anyways, finally, I just couldn't take it no more. I said, I got to do something. And I broke down at Walmart, literally broke down. I was getting groceries. I can't remember what I got. I just left the basket and went straight to the hospital. And the doctor's like, what's going on? I told him, I said, well, we got 2 options. Either you can go to a mental hospital or you can go home and just, figure this out on your own. I said, no. I've been trying to on my own. Mental hospital. So I went to the mental hospital and, and another thing that that God answered my prayer is I want to be more outgoing, talk to women more and men. I mean, because I didn't talk to hardly anybody unless I knew them for a very long time. I just wouldn't go up, hey, how you doing? Or, I just wouldn't do that. And if you talk to me, I'd talk to you, but it'd be like, hi, that was it, And so, but like I said, in the middle of this chaos, my prayers were getting answered. So, 3 days, goes by. I'm starting having these suicidal thoughts. We're doing group therapy, this and that. And, I asked him because we had to shut the lights out at 9, I think. And, hang on, let me get me some water. I'm getting thirsty. Sorry, I had to get some water. I'm thirsty. But anyways, so I asked the one of the nurses. I was like, "Did I walk around after 9?" She's like, "No, you know that's time for bed." I was like, "Okay." I said, "But I have been having vivid dreams about me walking around, because the only thing they could do, or we could do, was get a stretch or a stress ball and walk up that one little hall, and it was like a C, or not like a C, but you know." But anyways, and so, but the funny thing was, I know I'm getting off track. I do this a lot. Is I guess I was a very good patient. I said yes or no, sir, but that's just the way I was raised, and and like I guess I was doing good. They one of the girls there let me color by myself without any supervision. I'm shitting you not. That's another deal I'm gonna put in my comedy. But anyways, so, but they said, "What are you on?" And they went and looked. Goes, "It was Ambien gives you vivid dreams. Let's take these out for a couple nights and see if that helps." Well, sure enough, I get off the Ambien, suicidal thoughts go away. Lexapro's somewhat kicking in. I know it takes like 2 weeks, they said. Well, they didn't tell me that either, but so 6 days go by. I'm doing a lot better, not having suicidal thoughts or nothing. All right. So I go back home, do my own thing, cleaning up the house, this and that. Well, listen to my mother, which I know in 98% is you're supposed to, but there's just some things that I think that people gotta learn without their mother and father and stuff. And so I got off the Lexapro, and sure enough, came back even worse. So came back even worse. So we go to the hospital again, and same thing. I said, "No, I need to go to a mental hospital." I said, "Something's gonna happen to me if I don't." You know, it was that bad. It was so bad that I've had guns which I've never even used. I had 2 pistols and a couple rifles, but I've never been a hunter. I like to target practice, but I've never been a hunter per se, and because it's too cold, it's early, I don't want to fucking go and freeze my ass off. But so like I said, got back in the hospital, but it was a different mental hospital, and they said, "What's going on?" I told them. They said, "Well, that was your problem, is you got off the Lexapro cold turkey. You can't do that." I was like, "Well, no one ever told me that. I did not know that. You know, I didn't know you could, like Lexapro and, not Ambien, but fluoxetine and all this stuff I'm taking, or some of the medicines I'm taking, you can't just quit cold turkey." So, but like I said, it was so bad that took a little bit more while. So they put me on a different liver medication called fluoxetine, and slowly got back to where I was not having suicidal thoughts near as bad, you know, and it wouldn't bother me. You know, if I was concentrating on something, you know, I could get the suicidal thoughts out of my head for a little while. And but about that time, you know, we had a payphone, literally a payphone. Who the hell has a payphone anymore? Well, apparently the hospital does. But you could call, and so I call mom, let her know what's going on, this and that. Well, I called a buddy of mine that I'd just met a couple months before that, and all he kept telling me, "You need to write a song, you need to write a song." I was like, "Dude, I've tried, I can't I just can't. I physically can't. He goes, no. He goes, this is what you do. He goes, when you have communal time, which was where we would all lounge in the communal room and watch wrestling. Yeah. Because that's the only thing they freaking played, because we had to agree on something. And everybody liked wrestling, apparently. I didn't, but that's when I took time to do other stuff. But anyways, so he's like, just write what you've been going through the last couple months, because this was like a 3 month process. It's like, whatever, you know. But what was weird too is at that time we had group therapy every morning, and and I hated this at first. It didn't bother me after a while, but every day we had to go around and talk. Why are we here, you know? But there was a girl there that I guess had been was coming off drugs. I don't know if it was pills or meth or whatever it was, but she was coming off drugs, and just something attracted me to this girl's story. Woman, she was like in her early 20s. And so what I did is I took her story, or what I thought her story was about. I made up a bunch of stuff up, and what I was going through, and combined it and wrote my first song in 2 days called A Beautiful Soul. Just like that. I mean, it took maybe 20 minutes to write, 20, 30 minutes. And what was funny, because I was so scared because it talked about popping pills and shooting up dope and suicidal thoughts that I didn't know if they would take it away from me being in the nut house. And so every time nurse would come around and see what we're doing, I'd just close my book like I was like looking out the window or something. But I didn't like how the outro was, so I went back and rewrote that. But other than that, that was, my first song at the age 30, what I've been praying for 6-7 months. God came through, and then I started another song while I was there called Honky Tonkin' Tonight, and then I think it wasn't long after that I wrote a song called Podunk Town, which is pretty much what I was about, my hometown. I live in a very small town, rural town, but then now, almost 4 years later, I've written almost 33 songs. But anyway, so that's, like I said, how I came to write songs, and hopefully but like I said, if it wasn't for Cody Canada, none of this would have happened, or Brandon, or all this situation. Because like God, if you believe, God will give you what you ask for, God willing. But you got to be faithful and believe. Once you start believing, He ships it up and waits till another day till you start believing again. So always stay on Faith Avenue or whatever. I know I'm taking this from Steve Harvey. But, so, like I said, I just started writing songs constantly after that. But another thing is I didn't know how about writing songs. Because, Nashville tells you to do it one way. This artist tells you to do it one way. This artist tells you to do it. No, you do it this way. But what I have found out is that most of the time I don't have a rhyming pattern. I do now, since I started help with local musicians around the area where I live, but talking to musicians and songwriters, that there are a few different patterns but most of the time I don't go for a certain pattern. I've got songs that are 3 verses with no chorus, or 5 verses with no chorus, a 3-verse song with the same line in it, just different things, like I said. And I think I'm going to turn. There's no music to any of these right now. I'm trying to learn how to play drums, trumpet. I want to learn to play piano, slide guitar, and dobro, steel guitar, stuff like that. And drums. But anyways, and I think I'm going to turn A Beautiful Soul into a hip-hop song. So once I figure out how to get not motivated, but get beats to where I can lay them down, I'm going to do that. But that's this episode. I didn't plan on it being 45 minutes, but I'll see y'all later.